So hi, one of the Good Noise Podcast with Brave New World. We're going to ask them some questions today. I'm going to start. So what inspired you guys to start the band, and what does the band name mean?
What inspired us to start the band? So me and Spivey over here actually were in a metal band back in, I'd say 2013 or so. We kind of decided we were done playing breakdowns. We're done with the metal sound, I guess, and we decided to start experimenting a little bit. That's when Chris came along, and we decided to change the band name to Brave New World because it was a bit of like a new venture for us, such as a brave new world, as you would say. But that actually didn't last too long with the sound that we were going for. We were going for kind of like a Circus Survive kind of sound at first.
Okay.
And then a few member changes later, we decided to really kind of rebrand, revamp the band back in, I'd say 2019, maybe late 2018.
Yeah.
And then really since then, we came back full force, I'd say probably March of 2019.
Yeah.
And we've just been going since then.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Solid. All right. So congrats on your newest release, Blossom. How do you felt the response to it so far?
It's been really overwhelming, honestly. When we first went into it, like it was such an emotional thing, like trying to wrap your head around how people are going to respond to songs that are so personal and so introspective, but having a lot of different people, like fans that were previously there, and then just strangers like hit me up and say like, hey, I really related to that song. And it really, like made me feel better about things that I was personally struggling with was really reaffirming.
That's cool.
That's really wholesome. Yeah. It's good.
It's like we worked on that record for such a long time.
Yeah.
We initially recorded this back in March of 2019 when we first went into the studio with this, and then we've been releasing singles ever since then. And kind of like we've always kind of had that in our back pocket, like we're the only one that really has heard the full EP. Now it's kind of a vulnerable feeling putting it out there, but the reception has been incredible so far.
Well, that's good.
I'm very happy to hear
I
that.
was genuinely blown away by it when I listened to it. I was like, wow, this is really good. So
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
yeah,
I really enjoyed it. I will be revisiting it. I really, really enjoyed it.
Thank you. It means a lot.
It really does.
It was like, again, like as Shane said, like genuinely blown away because we listened to a lot of music and this one stood out a lot to me at least. So yeah.
That's really nice.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah. 4 thumbs up. I'm sorry. Sorry.
So is there any meaning behind the EP name or cover art?
The cover art was a design that we selected after kind of going over the theme. So Blossom overall was mostly about really diving into where I was at mentally, like where I was at with music, where I was at in life, and just kind of wanting to kind of break out of a sense of stagnation. Like I just kind of felt like I'd been plugging at music for pretty much my entire life. I had never really cracked through on something that I really felt satisfied with or that felt accomplished, and I really wanted to do that. And I think I really just kind of started to stop worrying about like striving for an idea of success and to start worrying about why I felt the way I did, and why I felt just distressed with where I was at and dissatisfied, and I think Blossom was about kind of breaking ground and reaffirming, like what you love about life when you reach a point when you feel like there's nothing that you can't love about life. And I think the color art kind of was that too, like just the idea of like dark, like deep personal emotional weight, but at the same time like almost in like a light, playful visual sense. So like the idea of like sunflowers and like a really wholesome, like just kind of blooming spring kind of vibe, but at the same time counterbalanced by that like deep, like negativity.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow. That's really, really cool. I'm sorry. Blown away again. Can you tell me a little bit about your writing process for this EP?
Yeah.
I mean, that's an interesting one. That's it changes depending on the day, man. There's some songs on the records where I just like went over to Chris's house and I was like, I have an idea. I'm going to keep playing these riffs until you find something and I would just play until he like sang something. You know what I mean? And once I started singing something, I was like, I know I had something there, you know. And then at that point, I was filling the shoes of the previous writer. Like both guitarists had stepped out, so it was me and another guy, and were trying to figure out where we belonged in the band. So that was a big struggle there, and I was just like trying shit, and nothing was working. And then I just came to Chris one day. I was like, "Hey, I have this," and he was like, "I like this. Let's do this." And then,
That was Baby Teeth, actually.
no, that was Hiding
No, it
Season.
was
That was Hiding Season. That's
how
what
Hiding
it's
Season-
called.
Oh,
Baby
yeah.
Teeth came about in a similar way, but it was
Hiding Season. Hiding Season was him and a guitar sitting at my dining room table, and me just going like, play it again, and it was like the most simple riff. It's literally just like, and I was like, play that, and he was like, just that part, and I was like, yeah, don't do anything else to it, like just play that over and over again. And we just literally hammered that hook. I'd say probably like 45 minutes, like enough to the point that the roommate came out of the back and was just like, are you going to do something with it, you know? And like eventually we found something that stuck, and that just kind of became a single that kind of carried the whole tone of the rest of the album. I think Hiding Season was that song that just kind of set everything. So once we kind of locked into that, like, well, if we stop worrying so much about trying to produce something and just trying to focus on like what makes a song appealing and what makes the piece like, you know, like what makes you gravitate towards that piece and latching onto that. Like, I think that like, you think about a chorus, right? Like a chorus is the most memorable part of a song, but I've always thought like, why can't you do that with other parts of the structure? So like sometimes I think like a particular drum fill or like a guitar lick or like a bass line, like all of those things can be just as captivating. And I think a lot of times we overlook it and just think like, well, if it hasn't got a catchy hook, it's not important. Like, what if we make all of those like parts of focus and like catchier pieces? And I think that's kind of became our focus moving forward. Like it became less so about like, well, was the chorus good, as to like who came to the table with the catchiest part and how we could all kind of like build something off of that. And we've moved forward using that formula. And it's been pretty successful so far with writing, at least on some days. There are some days that like work for hours and hours and still end up throwing it out.
Yeah,
just like,
oh wow,
it's really weird. I would say we probably have scrapped more songs than we wrote.
Definitely.
We are ridiculous at how precise we are with everything. Even in the studio, like the last day I remember before Sour Honey actually came about, we were fully done. It was just Chris doing his vocals. We were done. We had recorded 8 songs.
Musically.
We were done. Like we had spent a week on this.
And then we scrapped 2 of them.
And then Chris would come out of the back and they're like, these aren't working.
So we scrapped 2 of them and then we wrote another one. And that's how Sour Honey became a thing. It was just like, you know.
But I will say every time we do scrap something and write something new, it always comes out to be a better song. So I'm happy we scrapped those songs for Sour Honey any day of the week.
See, Cameron says precise, but that's a kind word. Like, I'm just a nitpicky asshole. Like, I can't be satisfied. There's no, I mean, like, I'll own it up. There's no nice way to say it. Like, I want, if there's a small way to improve a piece of music or a piece of, you know, like art that we're working on or content, I want to do that.
You're definitely the final filter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I'm the axe man. Like you'll come in with a part and like it sucks sometimes because you'll have them come in and they'll have like something they've worked on all day and they're like, I can't wait to show you this, and everybody's vibing on it and they've all like spent all night recording it and they'll post it in the band chat. They're like, what do you think, Chris? And I'll wake up and I'm like,
The worst
I'm not digging it.
The worst thing though is when he's like, yeah, I love this. And then the next day it's like, this isn't vibing so right.
Oh,
And I'm flawed as well.
So you're the hated one of the group then?
I am.
Okay.
It's hardest to please, but I mean, I think it works for the best, man, because we end up like, it's like someone's got to hold the rest of us accountable for our bullshit. You know what I mean?
There's never been a rewrite, I don't think, that was worse than
Yeah, we've never gone back ever. We've never really
that's good.
Back to the old ideas. Like we still have them. We'll never get rid of them, but it's nice to kind of have somebody that's like, okay, you can do better than this.
Yeah.
So you always just trust Chris's gut then?
Yeah.
For some reason.
I'm not like, it's weird because like I'm probably the least classically trained musician in the band. Like, everybody else like understands theory completely, and I'm like I'm a musical idiot. I have no concept of theory. I just kind of like caught, you know, like taught myself how to sing and like caught like, you know, like ways that I wanted to phrase things and it sounded cool and emulated that. But like I also think that it's a valuable tool to our writing process because I try to approach songs from like, is this something that I would listen to and enjoy? You know, like if I had no money invested into it or no like musical artistic investment in it, like would I like this, or is this cool because I'm a musician and I like this part? And if the answer is it's cool because I'm a musician, then usually we'll throw it out, because I think that there's a tendency in musical circles to write music for other musicians because you want to impress your contemporaries and you want to make stuff that resonates and that stands out. But like, I gotta be honest, like most musicians don't run out unless you're friends with that musician and like buy other musicians' content. You know, they measure themselves off of it. So instead of that, like I figured, like let's stop caring so much about what other people are going to measure us in our circles, and let's worry more about what people that are listening to our music like would care about it and how they resonate with it.
Yeah.
All right.
The
That's
fans are
fair.
the important ones, not the other bands.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're saying you have all these extra scrapped songs? Are you ever going to release them on like a B-side of this EP, or is it just gonna stay in the closet forever?
So, funny story on that is there were stuff. So one of the songs that got scrapped has already made a comeback.
Yeah.
One of the songs that got scrapped has made a comeback. It's completely revamped.
I think
We think of it as a scrap pile.
Yeah, like a better way
Okay.
to look from it is it's just like the spare part box that we go back to.
Yeah.
Because like there's always a point where we reach like inevitably there's a point where we'll get a verse down or like a chorus down that we're really into, and we'll come to like let's say a bridge that isn't really fitting, or like something that just needs more emphasis, and we'll have a part that we were in love with, you know, like forever ago. We're like, well, what about that part? Can we shoehorn that in? And then sometimes you'll find like through these weird like Frankensteining of parts together that you'll come up with something really innovative and different.
Baby
Yeah.
Teeth.
Yeah,
The bridge for
Teeth.
Baby Teeth
Baby Teeth was like,
had a completely different bridge.
yeah, it was totally different, and we went into that, and I think like trying to sell you guys the initial musical arrangement of Baby Teeth after we cut all the stuff out, like we got in. And
There's a lot of
yeah, like you guys had
jammed
laid
out
all
of
this, and I was just like, so I want to cut out about 75% of this.
Oh God.
They're like,
Yeah.
and the funny thing is like Jonathan, our producer, who normally in this instance would be somebody that's like, this is crazy and you shouldn't do this, is like, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Everybody's like looking to him like, please tell us that you think this is a bad idea. He's like, no, you should totally do it.
Yeah, this is good.
Really, Jonathan is our final.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jonathan's the final
Jonathan's the
filter.
final filter. Yeah. Nothing goes past Jonathan,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be heard by anybody else.
Yeah, so like,
Okay.
he's our final. Definitely
He's
our
like the
final
sixth
member.
member of the band without actually officially being the sixth member of the
He's
band.
the sixth member.
Mhm.
I think he's the final member of just about every project that he worked.
Yeah,
on.
that's
So
true.
So heavily involved with every piece of music.
He's
works on.
creative and like
A
he's
blessing
fun to work with.
I
Yeah.
love Jonathan.
The person we're talking about Jonathan DeLeese from Concrete Studios. They're based out of New Orleans, and he is just a mastermind. He is a machine at what he does. So shout out to
Fantastic
Jonathan.
producer.
Shout out Jonathan. We love you here.
All right,
Mhm.
Jonathan. So where was your headspace at while you're writing the CP? I know you said it was a vulnerable headspace, so if you'd like to talk about any of it.
Yeah, so I think going into it, you know, like I reached a point in my life where I was probably in my, I'd say like early to mid 20s when I first joined Brave New World, and I had been in other bands before. I was in a band at the time called The Sun Also Rises, and then before that, I was in a band called The Offer, and they had ended up getting signed before I moved on to The Sun Also Rises. So I'd always just kind of been like moving on to the next project that fascinated me and trying to find something that really stuck and that I was happy with. And I just kind of reached a point where it all just kind of started to stagnate, and I just kind of petered out, you know, like I had partied my way through all of the money that I had been saving up and accumulating to like fund all of this. So I was living in my car, and I just kind of got hit up by one of my friends, and he was like, hey, you know, like I have this band, and if you're interested in it, come up and join it. And I took all of my remaining belongings, everything that could fit in the car, and drove to Pensacola like in the middle of the night. And
Literally.
I literally like I think it's just because like I woke up in the middle of the night in my car, and I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna go ahead and go. I was gonna go the next day, so I went ahead and drove all the way to Pensacola and just kind of like slept out.
He slept in my parking lot at my apartment, and literally because me, our old guitar player, and Spivey over here all lived together, and we all woke up to probably like 10 missed phone calls apiece.
Oh no.
What is going on? And then we look outside, and Chris is sleeping in his car.
Oh.
So like, but I had moved here, you know, just kind of like, well, I'll just try it and see what happens, you know. And the first, I'd say like the first iteration of the band was really not it wasn't bad. Like we wrote some definitely some great songs.
Dude, I love
And we had
Ben's a
some fun.
Dream.
Yeah, like there were some really cool songs out of that, but it was just really different and uncomfortable. So it was like a growing phase. You know, there were a lot of growing pains in it. So I had gone from, well, I'm kind of fed up with this, to like, well, I'll try something new, and like, well, the new thing isn't really working. And that's just kind of, and we had lost a couple of guitar players by that point. So we had like had, you know, some definite member changes, and it was just like, well, what do we do with all this time and effort that we put in? Like, what is it worth it to continue this project? Do we walk away from it?
I think we officially broke up.
Yeah, I think that was
Wow.
we were just like, we're just gonna take a break and kind of like reevaluate if we want to do this, because we didn't
Yeah.
have any guitar players anyway. So we were like, well, we're just gonna reform and rewrite. And so I was at this point where I just kind of wanted to look at everything and why it hadn't been working. And I was like, well, let's you know, like really evaluate yourself. Let's take time and find out, you know, like for example, Blossom is about a friend of mine that died from a drug overdose. And I, you know, in my own realization that, hey, you know, like I've been living my life completely recklessly up until this point, and been lucky enough to like have kind of like dodged a lot of bullets. But what does that really amount to, you know, like in my growth, and like what have I become on the other side of that, you know? And can I say that it's a positive thing? So I think a lot of Brave New World and a lot of Blossom, especially like the whole album, was just about like that desire to like, well, am I still making something with music, or am I just like going through the motions, and really having a desire to like, yes, I want to create something that's worthwhile. And yes, like there's a reason that I got into this, and there's a reason that I pushed so hard at like such a difficult task, you know? And I think Blossom was all about that. It was just like, I just want at least once to say like, this is what it feels like to scratch and need and want and like just really desperately have to put something out, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me too, it was like instrumental, from the instrumental side of things. It was like, my mindset was like, initially I was like, well, how do I fit into what I know Brave New World as, right? And then like realizing that was never going to work. Like I was never going to be their old guitar players. I was never going to pull off what they were doing. And just trying to be like, all right, well, so what does Brave New World sound like through like the lens of me and at the time the other guitarist, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that was an interesting thing to look at, because I was friends with y'all. We played in separate bands.
Yeah, I mean, we've all known each other for the longest time, and literally the only people, like I said, who've really been playing together in this band for the longest is just me and Spivey, because we were in that metal band beforehand. But like this, we're all best friends who kind of just came together to form this like this. I wouldn't say super group, but it's not a super,
super
like,
group.
Super group in like the terms of our friendship, because like I didn't feel like it's weird to be in a band with people you don't connect with fully.
Yeah.
And it's never really felt like it's clicked with the other iterations of bands like I've been in. Nothing against anybody who I've been in the band with. But like this kind of feels like a family. It feels whole finally.
Yeah, it's definitely it's like they're working relationships that you have, and they're like bands and musical projects that you do with friends because they're fun. And then there's like the rare combination of both, where you can say like, hey, we're friends who are going to do a business together, and there's going to be times where that's going to suck really bad, but we're still going to have to like care about each other and keep going through that. And normally you reach a breaking point with most bands. Like you'll come to a certain point, like whether it's a tour or an album, where you're just like grinding at a problem and it's not working, and you're like, you know what, fuck this, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, sometimes it takes this one show too.
Yeah. And I think like the great thing about this band is like we've gotten to that point several times, and like several times we've all just gone like, no, we don't really want to do it. So let's figure out a way that we can do it and still like not hate each other at the end of it. And we continually like surmount the obstacles that we find ourselves in front of, just because like it's nice to have people that have your back that also have the same interests.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. So you guys are the super group that you were talking about. You hesitated, but you are.
We try our best.
We're just
You won't admit it.
It's, I mean, like these, like we're all people that like, I think we all trust each other a lot.
Yeah.
It's just something that like
we all respect each other a lot, which is really hard to find in the music scene, because there's so many different like egos bouncing around,
Uh-huh.
and everybody wants to be in the spotlight. But it's different in this band. We all kind of we understand the end goal. I feel like
It's kind of like a kung
Yeah.
fu.
it's kind of like a kung fu film.
It's like I think we resolve our problems like wushu films. Like it's almost like honor challenges. Like we'll get to a point where it's just like, all right, bro. So I have this issue, and like I don't really agree with you whatsoever. And it's like, well, if you disagree, then I feel that you should do this. And like you kind of honestly, at a certain point, you'll clash against this person until you realize, like, I really respect their ethic. I respect their work ethic. I respect why they are the way they are. You know, like. And there were so many times that like I would get frustrated with them as musicians, you know, and like not being able through my own limitations to be able to convey what I wanted to do in a project or like what I wanted to accomplish. And I would just get so mad. And then finally it went from like, hey, these are like musicians that are trying to do something to like, hey, these are really accomplished people that have done a lot of things musically in their own right since we started. And like anytime that they have a suggestion now, you know, or like they have input, you know, like there's so much weight behind that when you really come to realize and respect what your bandmates can bring to the table. So like, yeah, I love that about Brave New World because it's hard to find.
Definitely. That's very wholesome again.
Really super long-winded answers, by the way. We just
Oh no, it's okay. They're good. So doesn't matter. It's good.
I
Thank
can
you.
always get behind a long answer that's also good. You weren't just rambling and saying the same thing over again.
Exactly.
Yeah. We just, I mean, I know you guys got questions. We just like, you know,
You're good. We still got time.
Exactly. It's all good. It's all good. So while going through the EP, what band artist influences do you think you can hear the most, if any?
That's always a hard one.
Honestly, I would say the one that I always get, which surprised me, is The Used. So many
Ooh.
people point out that we sound like The Used, and I did not get that.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah, I'm trying to hear it.
What's that dude from that used to be in The Mice and Men, the singer?
Dayshell.
Yeah, we get that a lot,
Dayshell
too.
a lot too.
Mhm.
I don't really see it, but we get that a lot.
I don't really
Okay.
know either. I know for me, writing wise, I started looking at the way like Bring Me the Horizon was structuring their
Ooh.
songs at the time.
Yeah.
Like that, I think a lot of this stuff was being written right before or around the time that Amo had dropped.
Mm.
Like just before that. And so I was like looking at the way they were structuring a lot of their writing. And I was like, you know.
We kind of take a different approach to it though, because like I listen to a lot of pop. That's mainly what I listen to. I come from a metal background, but all I listen to is top 40s pop now. And
That's fair.
literally all of our structures for our songs are mainly pop structures.
Yeah.
But we make a rock song out of them. So if you listen to our songs, a lot of them are the same structure, but they have these small little details that are different because we all kind of take different influences from different places.
I grew up on a lot of like late 80s like hair metal, like 70s funk influences from my mom, and then tons and tons of like alternative and grunge and hip hop from the 90s from like my older cousins and just like older people that were around me that I wanted to emulate and that I thought were cool. So like I think Nirvana a lot really hit me, like as corny as it sounds, because I know they're kind of like an overplayed band to talk about now. But like when I was a kid, the first time that I heard Nevermind, my cousin had Nevermind, and he let me borrow the record. And the first time that I heard that and listened to it all the way through, it was fascinating to think about using simple, like because those songs are super simple. They're like Beatles structure.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if there were a song, if there were like a paint by numbers songbook, like a lot of the structure in those songs are literally just like verse chorus, but there's so much emotion and tone behind the lyrics and the way that they feel because of how they're presented. And I like the idea that something doesn't have to be extremely over complex to be meaningful and to have weight. So I wanted to approach that a lot. I think with Brave New World songs, like a lot of our song structures are super simple, but we just want to approach the vocals as intricately and as, you know, like I'd say like creatively as possible. Like we'll continually look at like a simple structure and say like, well, we only have this much space and something simple to do in it, but how much can we spin that and how much can we do it comfortably so that the whole doesn't feel like a jumbled mess? So like it's a continual, like I'd say that we try and create like it's almost like a storm in a teacup. Like you have a very limited space to do a whole lot of crazy things. So you try and like do all of it and make it fit into the formula as much as possible. And there's some things that get left behind, but usually we get a lot of experimentation.
There's a lot of extra shit that gets cut right as we're like finally tracking the song for the last time.
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of stuff that gets added too. That like I know sometimes when I'm just hammering something out, I'm doing bar chords, but then almost none of what you hear in the recording is a straight up bar chord. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it ends up like just finding new ways to play things. I think for me that's the biggest thing. Like that little extra like little note in there that would otherwise you would never think about it, like makes the chorus vibe a whole lot more, just a whole lot more somber of a tone or something,
We completely didn't answer their question.
They asked.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, did you guys even answer it?
They did.
Okay.
They did.
I did like zone out there for a second. I'm like, did they answer it when I was zoned out?
Yeah, I was like, hold on, wait, what did
We
you
did a
ask?
typical Brave New World.
See.
Where
You
Like
guys did answer it in the beginning, and then you went off on how
Bar chords.
Nirvana is like Beatles, and then you went off on other things, but you did answer it.
I was like,
So
I love me some good old bar chords, so I can get behind this.
Yeah,
Definitely there's some Glassjaw in there.
Yeah, so I think just like a lot of bands like that influenced me would be the roundabout way of kind of like
Yeah.
so
So efficient is
like after we
like,
circle those wagons, like overall, like we wanted to approach songwriting, and we were influenced by bands that approached like really, really complicated pieces with really simplistic ideas and made it to mesh enough so that people could relate to it.
All right.
solid.
So we've already established that this is a very strong EP. How do you guys plan to follow up with it? What are you guys working on over there?
A lot of
what can we talk about?
Okay, so I will.
You can talk about everything.
Everything. You can tell us everything.
I'm really bad about this. Like
Yeah.
I always get like cut off.
Okay.
It's like, well, if you want to know, and then I just spill. all
So
the-
you answer this question then. I want you to answer. Tell us everything.
Chris isn't allowed to answer the question. Really, what Secret's Out, we actually already went to the studio last year. We have 3 new songs that we've been sitting on, and we are in the process. We've been in the process of writing our new album since pretty much, I would say,
The moment the other one stopped being recorded.
not really. I would say probably like early 2020 is when we started writing the new album. We're still not done. We're probably, I think we're at like 13 songs that we've gone through. But we're actually going back to the studio in a couple months to track the second half of the album, and then we'll be returning a little later in the fall to finish it up. So we should be probably releasing a new single and a new music video if all things go as planned. I'd say probably midsummer.
Okay.
Midsummer. Okay. Looking forward to that. So this one should go like super, super fast. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe this EP for new listeners in 3 words. You all have to do it.
I was gonna say very good time. That's
A
4
very
words.
good.
That's so cheap. You can't do that.
Very good time.
That was also cheap, but we'll let it slide.
Horrible.
Cheap.
I would say
That's off the top of your head. Don't think about it.
I would say driving, emotional, and fast.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, I would probably say emotional. In depth is one word that I'm gonna use. It's just one word, in depth. it's whatever.
Mhm.
And kind of honestly unexpected. You have to dig in a little bit, in my opinion. If you like it at the surface, it's a rock album, but if you really dig into the lyrical content, it's a lot more than you think it is.
Yeah, definitely.
On the spot, bro.
Grungy emo rock.
Yeah, grungy emo
Ooh.
rock.
That's a good one.
All right.
That's good.
That's like the best
That's
description
the
I've
best.
heard, actually. That was like grungy
We're
emo
was a
rock.
probably
really
gonna
good one.
keep that for future interviews. Thanks.
Mhm. Write that down. Write that
When
down.
they go, so can you describe your genre?
Emo
You-
rock.
Grungy emo rock.
Grungy emo rock.
Grungy emo rock.
Or genre. So in the same vein as the last question, is there a certain feeling you want your listeners to have while going through the EP?
that's kind of a complicated question, I think, because when you really get down to it, I think I've always been fascinated by what other people thought about songs. You know, like it's less so like when people ask me what my lyrics are about, I'm more interested in like what they thought they were about. Like, what did you think about it? You know, like what did it make you feel? So I would be less interested in, I'd say, like an overarching desired feeling is more so like I'd just be interested to hear how it impacted people. You know, like what are your thoughts on it? You know, like less so like I want you to feel a certain way, because I mean, like if you do feel that you can relate to them, like fantastic, that's fabulous, and I love that. But at the same time, like if you know, I would love to just sit down and talk about like, you know, like other people's thoughts and reflections on
interpretation.
Yeah, like interpretation is fascinating.
I have a different persona on that, but personally, I want people to feel kind of connected. I grew up in this music scene that almost seemed untouchable. You see these bands that tour around, and it just seems like you would never be able to get to that level. Like they're our age, you know, but it just seems like they are just these gods among men. And that's the last thing I wanted from Brave New World. I wanted for people to feel like they can DM us on Instagram or reach out to us on Facebook, and we're going to message them back. We're probably going to add them, and we're probably going to talk to them personally as well.
Yeah.
So like, I want people to feel like, even in the lyrical content or the musical content, that they can relate to something there and find a way to connect with us.
Okay, I like that.
Again, very wholesome. I like that. Yeah.
Brave New World, fine, wholesome boys.
We're also trying to stay succinct too, because I know we could all just fucking ramble.
Yeah.
Grungy, emo, rock, wholesome boys.
Wholesome. Yeah. Those all work together, definitely.
That's a t-shirt.
That's
the next.
Hey, Toops, I got a job for
Wholesome,
you.
grungy, emo rock.
Oh my god. So where do you guys see the band in the next 5 years?
Oh man.
I would that's so hard because it's hard to predict. I mean, especially like after coming out of the pandemic where we had like our whole last year planned, and then we were like, well, scrap that.
Yeah.
Aww.
But like, I won't know, because honestly, COVID was really good for us in like a weird way. Like, even though we were all like affected by it, and like
In like a fucked up way, kind of.
yeah, like in a really way. Like we definitely, I'd say, grew from it and like learned a lot. It was a learning experience.
You can say that again. It's opened our eyes to different ways of communication, to say the least.
Yeah.
But really, for the band for the next 5 years, we're just gonna kind of push as hard as we can to get as far as we can. We're all in this 100%. This isn't just a hobby for us. We're trying to make a career out of this as much as we can. So we're going to, you know, get the connections we need and try to meet the people we need to and meet as many fans as we can. That's really our main goal.
I'd say like keep it going as long as there's something that needs to be said. You know, like,
as long as people care, we'll be here. Because like really the main thing that's driven us this entire time is the fan support. Like, because this year's been extremely difficult. Like, we're almost coming up. I think, what's the day? The 16th. So a little less than a week will be a year since we played our last show.
Oh, ouch.
That's the driving force of Brave New World, is our live performance. Like, that's our number one thing that we look forward to. And like having that literally stripped out from under us is kind of put a fire under us.
We spent so much time trying to get the live show to be like
everything
as intimate an experience as you could possibly have with us. And then like just when we thought we got it dialed in, when we were like, yeah, we got everything dialed in, we're like ready to go.
No
like,
more shows.
And then it's like one show.
We had a light room and everything. We had one show that we were able to use.
We did get to try that thing out once.
Yeah, right.
It's like having like the DeLorean from Back to the Future in the garage. You're like, that thing's so badass.
You got no plutonium.
Can't make it run, but it's pretty sweet.
So hopefully a lot of touring and a lot of new faces.
Yeah, you didn't answer the question.
I did.
Oh, you did. You did. You did.
You guys actually answered this one on like the band influence question.
They're never gonna have us back. Like, dude, these guys.
No.
It was ramble.
They were so wholesome, but my God.
Oh my God.
What was he even talking about?
They were really wholesome, but I kind of got lost there.
Like, man, I loved it, but I have no idea what they just said.
I have no idea what happened.
Can you guys all maybe take some Ritalin or something?
You sound so nice, but I have no idea what you're
I
talking
need some
about.
focus out of y'all.
Oh my
No,
God.
seriously, thank you so much for having us. It's been a blast.
Of course, we're not done yet.
We're
though.
not done yet. We got 3 more questions
Yeah.
left.
No, you're not finished. You can't leave. No.
Exactly.
No.
We're just having a lot of fun.
It's like,
No,
well,
that's-
that's
We're just getting started. We got the hardest ones up.
Exactly. Yeah.
So for the last couple questions, we're actually going to shift away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
Boom again.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's fucking easy. I want if I'm about to fucking die, bro.
A can
Yeah.
of SpaghettiOs.
No, I want my mom's spaghetti. I want my mom's
Ooh,
fucking
with
spaghetti. And I want a fucking green tea.
Ooh,
Solid.
okay.
It wasn't
Solid. Is it is it a sweet green tea like Arizona, or is it
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a hot
It'll
green tea?
either be a sweet green tea or like a freshly brewed hot green tea.
Okay,
Either
if we're talking
between.
sweet green tea, is it like Arizona, like peach, lemon,
The regular-
What are we
regular
talking, like,
green tea, yeah.
just regular? Okay,
This man could survive on strictly Arizona
Like-
green
like-
tea.
Yeah.
yeah.
giant 99-cent cans.
I should bring jugs now, man.
It's like,
Yeah.
If I was on death row, I don't know. I'd want probably like I'm vegan, so I'd want like a big ass vegan steak, and like
meatless meat platter.
see, this is why I don't answer these questions.
Oh.
Some weird vegan shit. Let's just leave it at that.
No, don't.
Okay.
What would
No.
you drink though?
What would I
you
drink?
with
Exactly. What are you
I would
drinking?
want my
Some weird
grandmother-
vegan shit.
That's what I grew up with.
Nana sweet tea
Nana
is
sweet
fire.
Two.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's 2 sweet teas.
You guys a sweet tea kind of
We're from the
band?
South.
That's true. No, I green tea, not sweet tea.
Okay.
Wait, so you don't have any sugar in that green tea?
I don't like sweet tea. I think sweet
Yeah.
tea is fucking.
Oh no, there's sugar in it because
There's tons of sugar in it, but it's not like
It's
Look
like-
at that face of distress.
it's not like straight southern sweet tea.
She's
That
like, so
shit-
you're telling me a lot of things that I don't fucking like right now.
Listen,
Get out.
Let you say that on my podcast, you sweet tea hating bastard.
Go in the other room for the rest of the interview.
He's like, you're done.
That was what got us kicked from future interviews. She was like,
Exactly.
wholesome, but
She said
hates
exactly. We're
done.
fucked.
We're done.
tea. That son of a bitch. Okay. I liked I don't know, Chinese food. Like
Yep.
any Chinese
okay.
takeout. Like I would probably like give me the nearest phone for like the local like and if it looks like it should probably fail a health inspection, the better.
Wow.
I love that. I love going into a restaurant and having the people around me go like, I don't know, bro. I'm like, yes, this is where the good food is.
So you like living life on the edge?
Like
Mhm.
rusty, stagnant pools of water. There's good food in there. Like there
Dude,
is.
every
I promise. Like,
every time we're on tour,
like a
he's like,
random
"We should
bucket."
stop there." I'm like,
Like-
"We should not."
yeah, like,
No.
No, he's right.
I want to go in there. I want to experience it.
to be fair,
No.
Yeah, man. Like I want to experience that on all corners. So,
Listen.
yeah, whatever.
I don't know if you want to get food poisoning on tour
I was
though.
just about to ask, how many
Like-
times have you guys gotten food poisoning because of the bad choices?
Gas station chicken tenders.
Like
What?
if
We've
That's
never.
not.
Hey, first off, don't you
Don't ever
Don't
talk
you
about bugs
dare.
that way.
don't you dare in front of me and these fine people talk about the chicken tender bender.
Oh no, no, no.
Those like all right, so across the street from the studio, there are these chicken tenders, and they're the best chicken tenders in
That'd
the
be
whole
good.
That
world.
would be your last.
Are they actually the best?
No, because I mean, like,
Spidey's gotta answer the question.
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't be my last meal.
For me,
Okay.
I'm going back to like southern. I'm thinking maybe like fried green tomatoes and like
Ooh.
some
Solid
Chipotle sauce.
Mhm.
And to drink, I'd do chocolate milk.
Jockey milk.
Those two would go horribly
Well,
together.
You
I'm
have
sure
the
you're
water.
gonna
It works together.
Well, you have the water to drink with it, and then after.
You got
You have
chalky
the chocolate
milk for the
milk.
way out. I can just imagine you in an electric
I'm
chair,
going
right? And
to
you're
the
just
gallon.
drinking chalky milk.
I'm going through the gallons.
What
with
the fuck what do you
chocolate
want
milk.
for your last meal? Fried green tomatoes and
Chalky milk.
too.
they'll be like, "You're actually a psychopath. You're getting killed now."
It would be Waffle House chocolate milk.
Okay.
I didn't know there was a difference.
Fair.
hmm
And they just come out of the little carton. I mean, I've seen
Yeah.
it. I've
Yeah.
seen it.
But it's the best. Nothing fancy about it. But something in that cardboard really.
You
gotta
gotta
get
get
cardboard.
up the
It
chocolate.
really gets me going.
Oh my god.
2% with Ovaltine.
Yum. It's delicious, man. Oh my god. So if you guys could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Oh fuck,
I would say Westeros, just to see if I could survive.
bro.
That's good. Wait, is that Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Cool.
Just to see if I can make it.
Honestly,
That's fair.
I want
Challenge.
to to see if Spivey makes it.
That's fair. Well, you would make it. Is
No.
that what you're saying? No?
I'm 100% dead in that world.
Definitely not.
So
I
you-
want to see if Spivey can make it. That's
You
the
won't
thing.
even live
that's
the
fair.
whole week to see if he'll make it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just kind of whoever.
it'll be a full 7 days before we figure out what happened.
Oh my god.
Question. I think I'd probably go with Futurama.
Ooh,
That would
okay.
be a lot of fun. I think. I've
Yeah.
always like growing up. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite shows, and I was just like, yeah, I could do that. I could kick it with robots and shit all day.
They almost completely die a lot though.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
It's
I
a
wouldn't
cartoon,
be
man.
any part of that. I would just be kicking it somewhere.
Okay, that's fair.
That's God, that's so tough. I'm a huge nerd, like
Huge.
Huge.
enormous nerd. Like, so I have so many fantasy things that are coming to mind right now.
Oh.
Probably,
Tell me your deepest fantasy.
I don't know, like any D&D campaign that I've been in that has been fun. Like, I would love to like.
Just in the world of D&D and
Yeah,
Death.
for sure.
There's a lot
Absolutely.
there.
There's a lot, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like D&D 5e. Like, throw me in the player's handbook and it'd be okay.
Actually, can I just retract my statement? I want to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
All right.
That's his final
So
Final answer.
I have the honor of
Spider-Man.
asking the last question, and every single person we've spoken to has said it's the most important question. What's your favorite color?
Oh shit.
That is the most
Jesus Christ.
Jade green.
Ooh, taste. That's
I
good.
fucking love jade. That's the coolest fucking color on the face of the planet.
You just got him really excited.
I talk about this color all the goddamn time. When he was
Yeah.
like, "What's your favorite color, Nick?" I was like, "Jade green," like a very specific
He
shade.
just, yeah, he just
This is going to be the longest answer of the whole thing.
It really is. I swear to you. You should not.
We only have one answer so far.
Bright, yeah,
Sure, it's
bright
true.
lavender. I like lavender.
Okay.
Lavender. That's good.
I'd say green. I'm not going to go as specific as Nick, but green.
Green. Solid.
I like orange. I'm one of those weird guys.
All right.
I
All
like
solid
orange is
answers.
As bright as you can get it.
So like
Okay.
neon
Big glow
orange.
orange.
Like your eyeballs hurt.
Yeah.
Like you're like, is that glowing?
Like sports uniform orange.
So,
Okay.
Or
like
like
the
a
side of the
highlighter.
road. Like
Like a
Traffic
highlighter.
cone.
Yeah,
Traffic cone orange.
so I'm gonna end the interview before Nick can start talking about Jade Green and how cool it is. So, as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you guys would like to plug?
I do want to say one thing. If you guys don't follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Facebook. We do a live interview on our IGTV every Tuesday. We actually just got wrapped up with our last interview. It's called Catching Up With. Come join us one week. We have a lot of fun. We have a different musical artist every single week. It's kind of like a podcast, but we do it live. Other than that, we have.
And we're not professional at all.
We are not this. I don't prepare.
We aren't either. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
I just I listen to the band for like a week, and I'm like, I got this.
Also, check out the EP. That's
Yes.
that's the big thing.
Definitely listen to our new EP.
Mhm.
We're going to be posting a lot of new cool stuff soon, and you might hear a new song. So let's do it.
All right. Well, thank you for sitting out with us, guys. This has been Brave New World, and we're the Good Noise Podcast.